Hi, we're here with Nalurian Cosplay, and we're doing an interview for Cosplay Inquirer. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Nalurian. I've been cosplaying since 2017. Yeah, I believe. I've been cosplaying for a while, but overall, I've only done like 3 cosplays, referring to the longer projects I had and where I made props and stuff like that. The other cosplays I've done so far are mostly closet cosplays, mostly because we've been in the pandemic, and so I try to get creative with what I have at.
When was your first contact with cosplay?
My first ever cosplay, it wasn't from any show or something. It was, I can consider cosplay because I've done the same process I often do when I'm working on one. It was a steampunk outfits, but when I really cosplayed a character was from Steven Universe. It was a crew cosplay, and it was really fun. I think the reactions I had were one of the reasons that made me want to continue doing what I've been doing so far.
What about voice acting and performative art?
I don't work a lot with voice, but I actually like to. I do a lot of character study when I'm not that similar to the character I'm cosplaying. I like to do a whole research on how they act. Sometimes hearing their voice also helps me because I can trace personality. But the better example I have of this is Akali, because I chose her because her personality is way different from mine, so I took it as a challenge, and I did a lot of character study. The way she acts, I actually searched for a rapper, a K-pop rapper that I thought was very similar to her, Lisa from Blackpink. And I saw a lot of music videos, and I tried to replicate what I was seeing in the mirror, and normally that's how I make my character study.
How do you incorporate your skill set? Because you are a violin player, you are a character designer. How do you incorporate that into cosplay? And what are some things you'd like to try in terms of using your skills paired with cosplay?
As you said, I'm a character designer. I'm mostly an animator because I do a bit of everything in that area, and what I often apply to cosplay is what I refer to the character study, to see how they act, to think how they will react to certain things. And normally I trace a profile of them, and I try to see what certain body movements they will do in certain occasions. Sometimes it's harder when it's a character most close to me than when it's something completely different. But I do that character study more when I'm doing OCs, because I'm creating something from scratch, and that's when I really apply the character study. As for violin, what I've been doing lately is trying to mix cosplay and instrument playing. I haven't polished it yet, but I did some closet cosplays, and I played the respective songs to said cosplays. I actually tried a couple of times to search for characters who played violin, and I could connect to them, but unfortunately I haven't found it yet, something that really makes me want to cosplay. But I still would like to cosplay my Jinx, and since one of her guns turns into a violin case, I think it will give a good cosplay skit if I use that and maybe do arrangements of get Jinx but played on violin.
Wow, that sounds amazing actually. I think you should go for it. Moving on, how does playing the violin and your music background come into play when you're taking on a role and getting into cosplay? Do you think anything that you've learned in the realm of playing music has helped you?
I don't think so far. I don't think they're really that connected. But it actually helps me when I'm trying to create something in a video format. But that's mostly because I have a music background, not really the instrument I play. I don't think it plays a big role, at least now. My animator background influences it more than actually my music background.
Playing the violin and taking your own audios for TikTok, because you make your own audios,
Yeah.
and you've made some covers of your own while in cosplay. Am I wrong?
I still have to publish them. The only cover I have, I wasn't in cosplay. I was just I put my hair on some braids and did a bit of makeup just to try to fit the theme of the song. I covered My Mother Told Me on the violin, and I had added other instruments. I'm mostly a violinist, but I have other instruments laying around the house. Like seriously, I have too many instruments, and some of them I don't know how to play them. But the ones I do know, I've been trying to incorporate them on my covers, and I enjoyed the result. Actually, what made me finish it was the fact it was a birthday gift, and yeah, I like the result because I've tried a couple times to actually do it, but I never finished most of them. Oh yeah.
Despite not being something that you do very often, your base of followers knows that you play the violin and is aware of that, right?
Yeah.
How do they react to you playing the violin and playing other instruments and using music as a whole paired with your crafts?
My friends had a better reaction to it. My followers, some showed they liked what I post, but it was like, yeah, it sounds good, and it stopped there. My friends are the ones who encourage me to continue doing it, and really love what I showed them. I just keep on doing it because I have fun, not because my followers will enjoy it, because I know normally I don't have that much feedback from them.
At the end of the day, that's the most important part of cosplay. It's about expressing yourself, and I think it's something nice to give some value to what you do and make it your own. You get what I mean?
Yeah. That's why I like Common, because pretty much every cosplay I did at a con, I had so many positive reactions. It's amazing when people react to the effort you've put on your own cosplays. Especially because most of my cosplays were made by hands. Only Akali was bots. The other ones were all made from scratch, pretty much.
Speaking of that, you're a very artsy person, very artistic. How does your job as a character designer and as an animator actually tie in with cosplay and vice versa? And what are some things that it allowed you to learn?
It actually helped me edit my stuff, especially my photos, because one of the things I've learned was photo editing and manipulating that, and I can do mixed media in terms of video. I haven't done it yet, but I'm planning on mix both cosplay and animation in a way that doesn't look like it doesn't get to the uncanny valley. But so far I haven't done it yet. But one that I really want to finish is the Akali KDA one mixed with a song from JoJo. And when I pose, I want it to shift to a drawing of a JoJo flight version of Akali. But yeah, mostly my animator background allows me to edit my stuff better and have another knowledge and the part of character creation.
Has it helped you in terms of building your characters, learning them, learning their gestures?
Yeah. We didn't have many subjects surrounding it, but we have some, because I think what some people don't realize is animators are also actors, because we have to act most of the time what we want to animate. So I've had some workshops when I learned how to bring a character to life. My teachers were always making us spend more time with the characters, being by drawing them, trying to think a way they would act, sometimes even doing their voices. So one time, a teacher of mine, because we would show our works in group, we would do a circle and then we would show our works. And we were putting our drawings on the table. And then the teacher asked us to try and think about a voice in that minute and do it in front of everyone. Like, you see this character here? How do you think they would sound? And yeah, I'm feeling a bit awkward that time, but yeah.
That is actually really cool.
And I remember when I got most complimented. Because I had to pose for them and we had to interact with a prop.
Mm-hmm.
I had a top hat, and then I had to pose for them, and they loved the way I was using the hat. So
How about now? Do you see any sort of connection nowadays with what you've been producing as of late?
Well, yeah. Mainly because I also spend a lot of time in the mirror. But I think it's something I've become more aware of how I react, how my body moves. Mainly because I had to. I'm my own model for most of the stuff I do.
It's funny you bring up the mirror, because it was also like a topic that Propman earlier brought in his interview. It was referencing the mirror as something that you use very often to know how your body moves, how the cosplay moves within your body, how to express yourself as the character. Do you agree with that sentiment?
Yeah, I do. Especially when I first see myself with everything on. Normally, when I'm not used to the character yet, when it's the first time seeing myself, then I start laughing. It's my first reaction. I don't know if it's because I look, let's say, rather hot from what I used to look like, but my first reaction is laughing, even though I've been practicing the character, because when I do, I'm just wearing my normal clothes in front of the mirror, and when the time comes, it's when I put all together and pray for the best when I have to record or shoot something. But yeah, the mirror is very important. it was actually one thing that we were also encouraged to use a lot. Actually, our teacher asked to the school to buy a huge mirror from full body mirrors, and it was very wide. And we had that thing in class if we wanted to check for visual expressions or body movement.
You are also a game master and very fond of cosplaying original characters. How did you get the idea to cosplay your campaign's characters? For example, the one you're wearing right now isn't your OC, but rather one of your campaign colleagues. And how do you perceive their reception?
Actually, I had a very good reaction from my followers. I really don't know why. Maybe it's because one thing I usually say about cosplay is you don't have to have the fanciest cosplay. As long as you're, let's say, selling the fantasy, you're doing a good job. Because the posture you have in cosplay when you're doing a certain character helps a lot. And I think that's why people received my and others original characters very well. Because we spend a lot of time with them. We write about them. We even sometimes roleplay as them, which was the case for the program I'm cosplaying right now and my own. And we end up creating even a stronger bond than when we are cosplaying, let's say, a character from a game you like. It's very different. It's almost like when it's your character, it's your baby, it's your own creation. It's different, the connection you create with them. Actually, what got me to cosplay for the first time original character was the fact that I bought my Lisa wig. I bought my wig for a JoJo cosplay I'm working on, and then I looked at it and I said, wow, this looks like Thalia's head. And that's what I did. And I cosplayed her. And then I decided to cosplay another character from the campaign. I didn't cosplay more of them because they're mostly males, and I don't have the proper clothes, and my male makeup is still in its early stages, let's say. So that's why I didn't cosplay any more characters from our campaign. But yeah, it was pretty much like that how it started, and about the game master thing. Yeah, I've started creating characters of my own because to help my players, because I'm still a baby game master in Vampire the Masquerade. I decided to create a character to help my players to understand how a sheet would work, how they would build it up. And I still want to cosplay her with what I have, but so far from that campaign, I've only cosplayed one, which came to my mind when I was looking at the mirror. And I even did her whole shit, even though she's an NPC, because I got carried away. But yeah.
Which character do you think is the biggest challenge for you to portray, and why?
Akali. Because, like I said, her personality is nothing like mine. I had to do a lot of study for her because I'm anything but tomboyish. It's like I used to tell my friends, I can do a better Evelyn from just my own way of being, even though I have nothing to do with Evelyn. Then do a good accolade because I think you can see my ends are very, very feminine, and they twist and twirl a lot, and that's pretty much how I act most of the time. And I had to stop, look at the mirror, think, and do more. It's not more stiff movements, but have another stance. Be, let's say, the mental note I keep in my mind is a bigger stance, like more relaxed, less and things doesn't.
What advice would you like to give to the people that are watching and reading this article?
If you want to do it and to try it, go little by little and try to see how recording your voice is really important, because we normally don't know how our voice really sounds until we hear it in the recording. And some people, when they do that, they start cringing at it and they stop. No, if you really want to do it, you have to understand that is the voice you have. There's nothing bad about it. It's how you sound. Ignore how your bones make you sound most of the time. And then you start experimenting. What actually helped me a lot to experiment with my voice was sound editing. About your own body. Most of the time we are not aware of our body, and it's very much like the voice thing. Sometimes when we start becoming aware, some people see stuff they don't like, but you have to try and accept what you see. There's nothing wrong about it. You have to just take it in and continue, because what's mostly important is that you're having fun, and just try to put all the negative thoughts aside, because I know a lot of the time we don't do certain things because we are afraid to be judged, and life's too short to care about what other people say. As long as you're not harming anyone, you're fine.
Now I would like you to tell us, viewers, what this character represents, who she is. Go on, take the mic. Stage is yours.
Cynthia writes. She's from a D&D campaign. I know it doesn't look like, but it was a campaign we started working on it, but then some things happened and it didn't go as planned, but I still roleplay with a friend of mine. But yeah, she's a rogue, and the whole thing about this campaign is everyone's a vampire, and the timeline is our own. I think we did it this way because we kind of wanted to play a certain type of Vampire the Masquerade game, but since no one knew how to play Vampire the Masquerade, we did it this way. So Cynthia, I think I know her father works for the mafia, and I think that's pretty much what she does, but she's a very carefree character. She has a lot of edge. I think you can see it. She most of the time just is reckless and does whatever does for her mind in that time, and she really, really loves to annoy my OC or failure because she overreacts most of the time, and Cynthia thinks it's the funniest thing she has ever seen. Fun fact about Cynthia: she's afraid of crosses, but she wears them on her. She does that. I don't know why she does it. I think it's just because, yeah, it looks cool, I'm badass, but then when you show her a huge cross and Yeah, she just quivers in fear.
Thank you so much for partaking in this interview with me. This was Kuramaki for Cosplay Inquirer, interviewing Nalurian. Would you like to drop your socials?
It's at Nalurian cosplay, Nalurian _cosplay, and then I have my art account, which is just at Nalurian. I don't know if it's clear how it's written, because most of the time people don't know how to say my username. I've been called a couple of things, different things.
Thank you so much to the viewers and readers for tuning in for my article about voice acting and performance. I hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned for next issue of Cosplay Inquirer.